Morning, Rob Powell here again, Rocky Mountain Type 1 Incident Management Team, Operations Section Chief for our morning Facebook briefing on 6/12/2018. I got some accurate acres for you this morning. We got an IR flight last night. The plane's fixed. So for the 416 fire, we're sitting at 23,378. And the Burrow fire to the west, which we're also taking care of, is 2345. So significant increase on both percentage-wise. We're sitting at 15% containment on the 416. We expect to improve on that throughout today, and 0% on the Burrow. Coming around, I'll just give you an update on what happened last night. Pretty similar to the night or yesterday afternoon. We had a big push coming out of this Hermosa Creek down into towards the Falls Creek and Mountain Meadows Ranch subdivision here to the south. We took and brought fire on our own terms around this corner here, and then started bringing it around where it comes up out of Trip Creek, Trip Gulch, and we have fire right back down into here right now that we established as the front comes this way. The fire last night kind of hung up there towards dark. We pounded it pretty hard with heavy helicopters just so we could keep that in check until tomorrow morning, till we can bring the rest of that down around. So in Delta and Alpha, this was wind tested pretty good last night and held, and we're in there right now securing that fire edge, mopping things up around this upper Hermosa area right up here against the face. A lot of good work done in there yesterday. Coming down into Delta, they're just going to continue with what they were doing yesterday, getting these lines held here, and as this fire front advances, which it will, we're going to keep ahead of it a little bit with our own fire so it doesn't make a big push down in there, and we got more secure black edge here along the structures. Coming down into Delta, we took off of the Falls Creek Road here. We put a hand line down off the face here, and then picked it up in the bottom to a dozer to this road system on 171. Cut across straight here, and then went up. Kind of cut this dog leg off of the Animus Lookout for you locals that are familiar with that. And then today we've got crews and heavy equipment and engines improving the 171 road up to the wilderness boundary right up here. So once we get that in place, you can see this is going to be kind of a triangle that goes from, let me get my pointer. So the line's going to come down here to the division break, cut across, and then we'll pick up the 171 to the Hermosa Creek, or the Hermosa Creek Wilderness right up in here. So once that's complete, we are going to continue firing down here and then start lighting, bringing fire down this 171 road. So this is a real coordinated effort between the fire edge here and us bringing fire down this way. It's got to be timing, space, and distance, and coordinated, because we don't want to get fire all established down in here and then start up here, and then we got straight runs to our crews that are going up on that end. This is a one-way in, one-way out. It's really tight. We're pushing in safety zones for the crews. So you can expect to see that, probably not today, but in the very near future, we're going to start firing this 171 road down to here. And eventually what will happen is right in this area here, we'll have two drip torches meet, and then we'll have fire backing down off the ridge here, backing off the ridge here, and that'll secure this Falls Creek area and from allowing that fire to blast right into Durango. We are looking at contingency farther out in here. What happens if this doesn't hold and it gets back in here? We're making plans to where else we can catch it to keep it from heading farther south. That was in Division Hotel. Coming up in Division X-Ray, The crews I told you yesterday were working to improve this from Castle Rock all the way down behind Purgatory to the 578 road. Then they're going to come back over here and pick a really favorable ridge to run that, put a indirect piece in there with equipment and hotshot crews to run that fire line right up to the rocks up there, the big scree rocks above Purgatory. So what that will effectively do is if this advances, it would hold here, come back around to the 578, and we could have a check line in here and then a line up into this area here to kind of seal that off, keeping it from going around us up the top back into Purgatory proper. Yankee, they've been coming down. They're improving this dozer line that goes up to Castle Rock and putting hose lays in there. So future plans as fire advances, we're gonna make this black around here and build that buffer. For right now, here at just west of Haviland, Elector Lake and this Haviland area, the fire's kind of checked up on some rock here, but it continues to go this way. We want to try and hold that from going any farther, so that's what the crews are going to be doing there. That'll buy us time to do this, and maybe we can look at some different options to kind of maybe take a little bit more direct piece up there so we don't have to introduce fire all up in this area. We're just waiting to see what the fire's going to tell us. We do expect a chance of moisture for the weekend, so we're hoping that that comes to fruition. But that's what we're doing there. Down in Division Zulu, this is where we've shown more containment. We're all the way up to the division boundary, just about down to this point here. I got division is going to walk this edge again today and determine whether or not we can show more black on that. I'm going to check it one more time. So tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have some more containment down on this east side along the 550 corridor. Talked about alpha structures. Structure protection is still in place 24/7. Our night shift on 416 is well staffed with engines and crews, hotshot crews, and they're the ones that are kind of bringing this edge down towards evening and until we lose the opportunity to burn. So they're the ones that have kind of been burning this in the evenings. Aircraft still have the same lineup: 4 heavy helicopters, 2 mediums, and two lights. And we do have access to slurry bombers if needed. We fired this aerial ignition yesterday with PSDs, little ping pong balls that get injected with a chemical and then they drop down to the ground and they catch on fire. We did that along this edge here to kind of get fire established above Falls Creek, and we may see some more of that today, this afternoon. If you see a helicopter, smaller helicopter lining up, you folks can see it from here on Durango side. That's what they're doing. They're just dropping little ping pong balls very carefully down below the fire edge, getting it established so when the fire backs down, it hits more black, and then we take another bite, and we'll continue to do that around this edge. But remember, I told you, we got to get this established before we get a whole lot of fire down in here. This is a weak spot. Comes to a point. It's really tight, so it's got to be, very well coordinated. Talk about Burl. For a few locals that are familiar with Bear Creek and Burl, the Burl Mountain and Wendy Pass and all of that country up in there, which is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. It kind of took off yesterday. Kind of died down a little bit towards evening, but you could see I think the first time I briefed you on it, it was at 500 acres, and now we're up to 2345. So what happened is it went down into Bear Creek, spotted across, put this little interesting finger in the center of the fire, and made a pretty good run up there and ran across the 436 road and kind of heading up to the north and east towards the Hermosa Creek Wilderness, Lower Bear Creek. Pretty good spot got established down in there, made a run up into this, and once it makes the corner with the favorable winds, running up this ridge this way is pretty much continuous decadent spruce, so we expect that to run a little bit more here, and eventually that'll fill in the gap. Crews are working on this south and west side, getting an anchor in here. They're camped right here, by the way, which is a really nice spot. Wish I was there. But come back around here, tie in with a dozer line in this existing trail system, and try to run it up into the rocks, get past Windy Pass, and tie it up into the scree up above that. Down here on the Dolores River, we got a division in here that is assessing the private property and structures that go up into along the Dolores River here. That's what they're going to be doing today. Things are looking good. We have an ICP over here also at Dolores High School in Dolores, Colorado. The crews are working over here, and every day we'll take a helicopter over and work with these guys. They're getting well staffed with hotshot crews and heavy equipment and whatnot. Other than that, that's about all I got for you today. So any questions on Facebook, get them to me and I'll try to get them answered, or anybody here in the PIO shop. That's another thing too I want to give a big shout out for. You know, we got close to, I think, about 1,200 people on the incident now. We've built this big city here in your neighborhood, and it takes a lot of work to do that. And we have a lot of support staff, logistically, information-wise, caterers, showers, you know, all kinds of support staff that are making this work. And if we didn't have that, an army crawls on its belly, we wouldn't be getting very far. So the other folks in the other functions are to be commended for what they've done so far here. So with that, hi Melina, hi Lydia, and we'll talk to you later.